So here it is, guys, the video you've all been asking for. The reason I didn't come out with this sooner is because I, kind of thought it was personal and didn't really think you guys needed to know, I guess. But y'all kept asking about it, and so I just figured, alright, fine, why not? So I guess we'll start in the beginning. I was working as a correction officer at a prison. Then Jesse offered me the job to film with him, and he offered me a little bit more money than what I was making as a correction officer. So I, asked my parents and grandparents and family, and they were all, hesitant. They were like, I don't know, doesn't really sound like it'll be a stable job, and this is, the correction officer job is a job that you can rely on, and you're not really making that much more money than when you're making with them, and with them you'll for sure get a raise. But in the end they said, if it's something that you want to do, then you can do it. And it was something I wanted to do, so I did it. So we wrote up this, we had a contract and everything that I was saying I was going to work for him. Now the contract was a little vague about some things, and something I was mad about is, like, in the contract, I'm pretty sure it said I had to do just, like, miscellaneous task, and so that pretty much meant that Jesse could just ask me to do, anything. And you guys would all say in the comments, like, oh, Corn's just Jesse's little bitch. And, like, essentially, I kind of was for, at least part of the series. And it was kind of annoying. Like, when I did his laundry in a video, like, that was legit. I legit, like, carried his laundry downstairs and upstairs, like, multiple times. Because he couldn't do it because of his thing, which... you've seen the surgery video now, I'm sure, so you know that's legitimate. But, it was still kind of annoying, because I was like, and so, but, in the beginning it wasn't so bad. But then eventually, I kind of got to the point where we just started filming longer, I guess, and just, I don't know, it just was more than I expected it to be. And so then I wanted a raise, and I was nervous about asking him because, he's my friend, and it just seemed weird to ask for a raise because, we already agreed on amount. But it was, like, I literally, like, never had a day off, and I couldn't really make plans, because Jesse would just, call me and say, okay, come over at this time. Now, usually it was around average time, around, 1 or 2 o'clock that I would come over. But then when we would end was kind of, random. Some nights it would go later than others, so I couldn't really make plans at night. So that was annoying, and, it wasn't like like, at the correction officer job, I had, like, benefits and stuff. And I didn't have benefits with him. So I felt that these were all things that I should get paid a little bit more for. And then, since I didn't have any of those things, like, I just thought I deserved more money. So, I think what I did is, at first I asked him if I could have a day off. And he said no, because he needed me to film every day. So I was like, well, crap. I guess I have to ask him for a raise. So I didn't do it right away. But then what happened was, we got to the point where we were about to do Psycho Dad Burns fan mail. And as you know now, we burned fake fan mail. So we had to move all the real fan mail into, like, another room. I mixed up videos. So we had to move all the fan mail into that room. And then after we moved into that room, we needed that room for something. So then we needed to move all the fan mail into, like, a different, like, storage area. Like, it was, like, in his basement where the ping pong table is, that hole back there, we had to shove it in there. So since Jesse had his thing, he couldn't really move much of the fan mail. He could move the light stuff, but like most of it was in boxes, so they were kind of heavy. So I had to move like most of it into that little back area. So after that, I was like, that was a decent amount of work. Like, I'm a little upset that I had to do all of that by myself. But, you know, I still did it because we were friends. And then that was kind of where I was like, alright, I need to draw a line. Like, right here. Because this is ridiculous. He can just ask me to move all this fan mail, and then I have to do it, or he can ask me to do this, or ask me to do this. He, like the contract said, he can pretty much make me his little bitch, like you guys all said, and, I mean, it's in the contract that I have to do it, so I have to do it. So, then he was going to the airport with Juliet, or going, you know, to a different state with Juliet, and he waited till the day they were leaving to tell me, oh, by the way, I don't have a ride, so I'm going to need you to drive me there. So I was a little upset about that, because I was like, couldn't you at least give me a little notice? Because I was like, come on now. Like, a little heads up would have been nice. So I go home, and I was like, you know what? This is where I'm going to start telling him no. Like, if I don't get a raise, I'm going to stop doing, like, little stuff like this for him. So, I told him no, or that I was busy, or something. I forget exactly what I said. And then, what he did, and this pissed me off, like, a lot. He then turned it and said, oh, well, I need to film the ride there for part of a video, so you have to do this, because it's your job to film, so I need you for filming. Well, when he said that, I was, like, beyond pissed. Literally, I was, like, talking to my mom and dad about it, and I was just, like, pacing back and forth, because, like, it wasn't so much about just driving him to the airport. It was, like, I was finally gonna say just no and stand up for myself to him, and then he just showed me, like, you can't do that, because I have all the power here. So I was just pacing back and forth, and I was, like, trying to breathe to calm myself down. I was trying to, like, clench my fist to calm myself down, and so, and then my parents were like, well, I guess you should just do it and just get it over with, because you're going to have like a week off after this, because, you know, he was in the state for a week. So I go there, and I was too pissed to hide that I was pissed. So, literally, like, within 2 seconds of me walking through the door, he asked, like, are you alright, man? And I'm like, mm-hmm. And I go and get the camera, and I film a little something that we have to do inside. Then we get in the car. And now I'm fuming at this point. And he's trying to talk to me, and I'm not talking to him, because it was my plan to ask for a raise when he got back, because I didn't want him to have to think about giving me a raise while he was out there. And instead it was worse than if I just asked him before, because then he was worried about why I was so upset the whole time I was out there, so I ruined that vacation for him a little bit, because he was like, why is he, because I never told him. Well, I didn't tell him during the car ride to the airport. So he's trying to talk to me, and I'm just so pissed, because I'm not talking to you. And literally, like, my hands, like, both, because, like, one hand's holding the wheel, another hand's here, and, like, they are going, like, numb, because I'm so mad. And then all of a sudden, like, my arm starts to feel numb, and then, like, my chest starts to feel numb, and, like, legit, I was like, holy shit. Like, I'm about to, like, have a heart attack or pass out, because I'm so pissed right now. So I'm like, I need to calm down. So I start clenching this hand, and I start, like trying to breathe, and, like, we made it to the airport without me, like, passing out, so that was good. And then he said something when we got to the airport, like, oh, you know, I really appreciate you doing this and like coming on this ride with me, you know, the like whole Psycho series ride. And, you know, I just, you know, I'm glad we're friends and something or another. I don't remember exactly what he said, but he pretty much said, like, thanks. And I was just too mad to say anything. I was like, I'm pretty sure those are the only things I said to him that whole night. So then he went to hug me, I remember, when he was getting out of my car, and I turned my head, because I was like, I'm too mad. I'm too mad for all that. So then he left. And then the car ride home, I was like, legit, like, teary-eyed and pissed, and remember I just was like punching my steering wheel, like, what the f... And just, that's how I was trying to let some anger out, I guess. So then, yeah, I get home, and my parents are like, oh, how'd it go? And I told them about, like, I thought I was gonna have a heart attack, and they laughed. So anyway, skip forward to, he comes home from that. He asked me to come over, because, you know, we need to film, and obviously he wants to find out why I was so upset. And I come over, and then we're sitting in his room, and he asked me, so I gotta know what's up. No, I'm just like twiddling my thumbs, looking down, because, like, I know I messed up his vacation a little bit, because I knew he had to be wondering, and I felt bad, but at the same time I was super pissed, so, and I was like, alright, I just gotta tell him, I don't think I make enough money. And then he's like, whew, he's like, that's it? He's like, oh my gosh, why didn't you just ask? He's like, I was actually thinking about giving you a raise, like, after you moved all the fan mail, I thought to myself, you know what? This man really needs or deserves to get paid more, really needs a raise. I forget exactly what he said. And I was like, oh really? And he's like, yeah, you know, I've been paying closer attention than you might think. I've been keeping a checklist of stuff, and you know, you've been passing everything, and I thought if you passed everything, then I would give you a raise. He's like, you almost failed it when you didn't take me to the airport. And I was like, oh, well, you know, I was just really pissed, and I guess I just wanted to say no, and that's why I didn't want to do it. And he's like, okay, alright. And he's like, I mean, what'd you think I was going to say? Like, no, you don't deserve a raise? And I was like, well, yeah, that's kind of what I was afraid of. And then he, you know, he thinks about it for a bit. And I'm telling him, like, you don't have to decide right now. But then he comes up with a number. Like, boom, I'm going to give you this much. And honestly, I had, like, a minimum that I was going to ask for in my head. What I really wanted was a percentage. Because then, like, as his channel grows, you know, then you know, the amount of money he'll make will grow, and then the amount of money I'll make will grow. And that's what I wanted, but that's not what he wanted to give me. So then I decided, like, if I didn't get a percentage, this was the amount I wanted. And he gave me, like, honestly, like, double, more than double what I was gonna ask for as my minimum. So I was like, holy crap, like, that's a lot of money. And then I don't like to make too rash a decision, so I told him, I was like, alright, I need to think about it, since you're not giving me a percentage. I was like, I need to think about it. And then I got home, and I just thought about it, and I was like, that's way too much money to just say no to, like, I have to accept it. So I accepted it. And then it was just, like, really terrible luck. It was just really bad, just coincidence and timing. Like, the month after he gave me a raise was then the farming series. And the farming series, all the filming days were, like, much shorter than regular days. Like, I would say on average we usually spend about, like, 6-ish hours filming. Where on farming days, we usually spend like 4, maybe 5. So it was definitely like at least an hour or 2 less per day. And then those 4 weeks went by. And then I think he waited 2 months. I think it was like 6 weeks that he waited. All of a sudden he was like, he sat down with me. He's like, listen, I can't afford to pay you that much anymore. I'm pretty sure he said I can't afford, even though that's kind of bullcrap. I mean, he's making a decent amount of money where he can afford it. So what he really meant is, like, I just don't think, you deserve it. And he's like, I think he said that next. He's like, I just really don't feel like the work you're doing that you deserve that much, because I haven't really seen an improvement. And, like, I mean, I'll admit I wasn't really... I didn't really offer up ideas. Like, after he gave me the raise, I offered up, like, maybe 2 ideas. Because, that was his baby. It's like a series is his baby. I didn't want to offer up, like, a stupid idea and then, ruin a video. So I was trying to let him do his thing. And, yeah, so then he said, you don't deserve that anymore, and I'm going to take it away. Because he was also, paying Anita and paying Chris. And, I thought, okay, sorry about that, my camera can only record for a certain amount of time, then it cuts off, so, I think it cut off somewhere around where he needed to pay Anita and Chris, and, I forget exactly where I was. Yeah, and he just couldn't afford the raise. So I thought that he would, take away part of the raise. And then if he took away part of the raise, then it would probably be around about what I had asked for. And nope, I was wrong. He took away literally everything. He went right back to where I was before the raise. And just let me just tell you what really pissed me off about that is, like, during the series he had hired an agent. And I'm pretty sure he was paying the agent like 9.5% or something like that. And then one time, I don't know if he told me on accident or if we were just talking about it, he told me, like, that the agent was making more money than I was. And I was like, well, that's not really fair. Like, I'm here every day working with you. And I mean, I get this guy's helping you with stuff that, like, I can't help you with. But still, I think I should be making at least as much as him. I'm here every day with you. And pretty much what he said is like, well, I mean, just like, anybody can do your job, so it's just not worth paying you more. So I was pretty upset about that. And then, just to make it even worse, he asked me, among other things, he was asking me a lot of questions to try and find out, like, what more I could help him with after the series. But then one of the questions was, would you be okay with a severance pay? Which is pretty much just saying, like, if I find a better job, I'm gonna, like, pretty much pay out your contract, and then, you'll be gone, because I don't need you anymore, because I'm getting a better job as an actor or whatever. And I was just like, are you kidding me? Like, in my head, I'm like, is this a joke? Now, on the outside, I was just like, yeah, sure, I would understand. Because, part of me would understand. Like, he can't turn down, like a role in a movie, But at the same time, I'm like, this is my job here. I quit my job to do this, so I was kind of hoping it would be at least a little reliable. Now, I don't know if he actually would have done that, but, he asked me about it. So I was literally, like, this close to just quitting, just right then and there. So I was like, I told you that what I was making wasn't enough money, and then here you are, you gave me a raise, and then you said you couldn't afford it, and you just took away the whole thing. I'm like, this is bullcrap. So then I got home, and I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? I'll finish the Psycho series with him, and then I'm done. Because, then I'll feel like less of a douche, because I don't want to quit right during the Psycho series, because then he's going to have to make up some plotline twist of why I'm not in the videos anymore, so I figured, it'd be easier. And I'll feel like a better person if I wait till the end of the series. But, like, he... just... Like, that same night, I told him that my girlfriend was... Or, we weren't boyfriend and girlfriend yet, but this girl I was talking to was coming down, because, she's now my girlfriend, she lives in Cali. And I was like, she's coming in May. And he was like, ooh, I don't know if that's a good idea. And I was like, why not? And he's like, well, you know, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on in May, and I don't want her interfering. And he literally said there's going to be a lot of stuff going on in May, right after he said, I can't pay you more, because you're not doing enough, and there's not going to be much going on the next couple months. So that was a little weird. But I was like, no, she's coming. Now, ironically, she did mess up the series a little bit. I mean, we'll get to that later. So another thing that was also talked about in the very beginning was what are they called? Like advertisement deals or whatever, where he does like a video, like, and puts something in his video. Like we did the video on Key Overdrive, and he got paid for that video. And we talked about in the beginning, he's like, these deals are gonna be coming in, and let's say I made like 30 grand. He just threw out a number, like, and from a video. And I was like, oh, that'd be a lot. And he's like, yeah, I probably won't make that much, but let's just say I made that much. He's like, I could maybe give you like 10 grand. So I'm thinking in my head, like, oh, I'm getting like, a third. And then, like, the On Key Overdrive comes, and now, we did it with Larry and Mark, so he gave us all the same amount. So I wasn't too upset about that one, because I was like, well, Larry, I don't really deserve more than them. But I kind of thought I had it in my head that I was getting more than what he gave us, because he gave us like 5% of what he made. So then I talked to him about that later, and I was like, well, in the beginning, you kind of made it sound like I might get a third, and then an actual deal comes in, and I only get 5%. Like, so how much am I actually going to get? So then he told me, like, he loses some money to taxes, he has to pay the group that he's with on YouTube, and he has to give some to his agent. So then he agreed to give me 10%. And I was like, I wanted a little more than that, but I was like, okay, 10%. And then, yeah, I continued doing psycho videos, and the destroying of the RV happens, and that didn't go as well as we had planned, just because the backhoe wasn't able to destroy it as much. And then we did the pool destruction, which I do have to admit, I was kind of glad that I was there for the pool destruction. The pool destruction was kind of cool. It was pretty cool, and I have to give Larry some props. He had some balls driving into the pool. I would have been a little nervous. I think he was nervous, but he still did it. So I have to say, I was, kudos to you. That was pretty ballsy. So, oh, I forgot something. Before the pool destruction, while we were doing the RV, I asked him, and I was like, listen, I told you that what I'm making isn't enough, and I meant it. And he was like, I'm telling you, man, you don't do enough work, you don't deserve any more. And then what he did there, he literally, like, laughed right in my face and said, do you really think you deserve more? And that, I was like, this dude just laughed at me like I was like some idiot for asking for more money. Like, how could I be so stupid to think that I, deserve more money? At least that's how I took it. And I was pretty upset by that. So I remember he could then tell I was upset. So he was just talking and talking. Like, Jesse's really good at talking. I mean, you've seen in his videos. His video's like half an hour long. He's really good at talking. So I'm just sitting there like, I just can't say anything, because nothing I say, he already said no, nothing I say is going to give him change his mind. So I remember, like, I was running out of gas, and I was telling Leo, I gotta go with him. My car's just sitting here idle, it's just getting lower and lower on gas, blah, blah, blah. And then he was like, you'll make it. But eventually he leaves the car. I'm just like, son of a bitch. So I go and get gas and then get home, and I'm like, ugh. And I'm like, alright. I mean, he only wants to give me 10% of the advertisement deals, and he's not going to give me any more money. So that's it. I was like, I'm for sure quitting after the series.